décollage.
Put that in the big bag, you know.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You read? We don't need any more of these.
All right, a lot going on this week, so let's jump right into it. I'm Jack Beyer for NSF, and joining us for NASA Spaceflight Live in our new and enhanced time slot, again, like we're kind of keeping the lineup the same, is EJ. EJ, how you doing? Are you there?
Hey. Hi. Hey, what's going on, Jack? How are you?
We're live.
Oh, really?
What are you excited
hey.
for this week? Going to the moon? New Glenn?
Yeah. No, okay. Jokes aside, the IM-1 mission, really, really cool. 3 Falcons. We got H3 tonight. There was an ISS resupply. Lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff to talk about. It's gonna be fun.
Fun on a bun. And we're also joined by Sawyer. Sawyer, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. As long as the fun is on a bun and not a bagel, we're going to have a great night tonight.
That didn't take long.
As soon as I said fun on a bun, I saw your face. It's like I locked eyes with you through the internet, and I was like, what have I done? What have I done?
You knew the mistake had been made.
Can we at least talk about space first before you guys yell at me about bagels?
Fair enough.
Sure.
All right, let's do it. How about we start off with? Should we start off with H3? What's going on with H3? What's the latest update? Are we still ticking down to T0?
I mean, I think so. I'm pretty sure. Let's here. Let me go over to next spaceflight and check.
Looks like 10 minutes to go.
Yep, and as you can see, that is the live webcast on the screen right now, courtesy of JAXA. For those who don't remember, H3 is about to fly its second flight ever. The first flight kind of had some issues with the second stage in that it didn't actually ignite. So earlier in the broadcast, they were saying that apparently they have 2 different sources of ways of igniting that second stage, but power got cut off to both of them. So even though there was redundancy, if neither of them have power, turns out you're not going to be able to ignite your engine. So as a result, the second stage never lit, and the investigation was launched into the crash, and now we know that's why. So H3 is trying again for X2 times 2 on this one, with, I believe it's 3 satellites on board. H3 satellites.
All right.
Nice. I'm really excited for this one. I hope it succeeds, just because it's like a dream of mine to see a launch from this spaceport. So of course, I want all of these launches to go well. Like I want all launches to go well. But also, there's one of the payloads is from Canon, and is based on a Canon R5, which is the camera that I use. So it's like, heck yeah, let's send an R5 to space. Like, let's go. So I'm excited. Just from a nerdy camera perspective.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, I'm Team Nikon, but I'll let it pass anyway because that's still really cool. And yes, the spaceport, it would be cool to see a launch from there, but it's even more fun to say it. For those who don't know, this is the Tanegashima Space Center in Japan.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It is one of the most picturesque launch sites around, dude. It's pretty awesome.
I mean, part of the reason why I'm like, I love Vandenberg, you know, I'm Mr. West Coast, is because of the contour of the Earth around the pads themselves. Like, you look at a picture of Slick 6 or Slick 4, and there's like mountains right there. And, you know, there's something to be said for having some contour to the Earth around your launch site versus just like a flat beach like you get at Boca or at the Cape.
Don't you prefer contoured anyway?
I'm Sawyer.
It's Friday evening. We'll have a little light fun.
Oh God, Max is here in the back channel.
Oh no.
I don't even. I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to look at it.
By the way, for those who are saying that it's 2 satellites, it is. I'm just saying 3 in general because I'm counting the fact that they have another mass simulator payload on there, so it's 3 payloads technically, even though 2 of them are satellites. The one that has the Canon camera on it for Earth observation, and then the other one, which is a CubeSat.
He's technically correct.
The best kind of correct.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Futurama fans unite.
Good news, everyone.
Beat me to it.
So yeah, H3 is about to happen. So we'll keep our eye on that. What do we want to talk about while we wait for H3 to launch? You guys want to go New Glenn simulator? Mayhaps?
Newglands?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with this naming, but I understand it because of context.
Newglands.
Newglands, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to take this one? You seem the most enthusiastic, EJ.
Well, yeah, sure. I got this. Blue Origin put their structural testing articles, first and second stage structural testing articles, on to the biggest transporter erector I've ever seen, and put that up vertical at Slick 36. It's the first time anything has been vertical on that TE except just the TE by itself. And the pictures that we got from Max, pretty good. They're pretty awesome
Pretty dang
pictures.
good.
Do we have those pictures around? Can we?
Some quality images from Max, which, if you remember, you already saw. And if you follow Max on Twitter, you already saw. But we can look at him here and talk about how cool it is that we're seeing Blue like really get into a posture where like they're credibly going to launch this year.
Look at that.
Oh, that's impressive.
Beautiful.
There was a daytime picture that was taken as well, and there were some people walking around the deck of the launch pad, and to see them contrasted to the size of the rocket really messes with your head a little bit because, man, that thing's big. It's not Saturn V big, but it's almost Saturn V big. It's pretty close.
I mean, probably the closest size comparison probably would be SLS. It's very similar in terms of the height of the core stage, just a little bit skinnier.
Yep.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Amazing.
The towers can be deceiving. The lightning tower, like they can be deceiving because they almost make the rocket look like it's in a tilt shift image or like a miniature. But no, it's very big. They're just also very, very tall towers. I'm so excited for New Glenn. So incredibly excited for New Glenn.
Newglands.
Yeah.
New Glenn.
And I think it's
yes.
worth clarifying because I know Adrian has been very adamant about this as one of our experts here covering all this stuff with Blue. This is just, as you mentioned, a structural test article, so a simulator. Yep. This isn't the actual Pathfinder. But with the success of this, it's very likely now that maybe some of the other test hardware that we've seen out at Blue Origin's main facility, just outside of the Kennedy Space Center, might be next, hopefully.
Yeah, because that structural testing article, first and second stage, aren't the only things they have out there in that hangar, Sawyer, right? Like there is Pathfinders out there too that maybe eventually will become flight test articles. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but I mean, they sure looked high fidelity enough, you know?
Oh yeah, I mean, again, we saw parts of it during the flyover. You saw ones that had actual physical connection lines for the engines on it, so and for the strakes and all of that. So again, this is just getting all the ground stuff worked out. And for anyone who's followed launches for a while, you know that GSE can be quite an issue with some launch systems. So get the kinks worked out with that, as opposed to your one that has all the wiring and tubing.
Yeah, speaking of ground systems issues, potentially, I guess we'll talk about that with Starship here in a little bit. I see what you're doing there, Sawyer. I'll see what you're doing there. We're not going to talk about Starship right now. It's New Glenn's. It's New Glenn's.
No, I know.
Time to shine.
I know.
Newglands.
As the
But it
Cape
might be
guy, I'm
H3
very
time.
happy to talk about Cape.
Yeah, there you go. I think we might have an H3 launch though, gentlemen.
Oh, do we want to listen into that?
I want to listen in on that. I don't know about you guys.
Ooh,
Yeah, no,
me
let's,
too,
let's
me
Mystery Science Theater 3000 it. Look, let's go.
There we go.
130、29、28、27、26、25、24、23、22、21、120、19、18、17、16、15。
Admittedly, I'm quite used to the US ones where they don't count down every single second. You get, you know, like 1 minute, 30 seconds, and then the T-minus 10 count.
I kind of
The
like
real
it.
question, yeah, no, it's not bad, right? The real question is though, is that somebody actually counting down the numbers, or is that a computer? Is it, you know,
No, that's a
Yep.
person.
yeah.
I feel like it's got to be a computer. Like you can't even get a sip of water.
What do you mean? I've seen people actually. I know for India they do. It's a person reading it out.
Wow.
I don't see why they wouldn't do it for Japan as well.
Makes sense.
And then sometimes they also continue with the T plus. We'll see if they do that as well as we get into the final minute here of the count.
打ち上げ1分前です。
1 minute to launch.
Here we go.
54、53、
Falcon 9 is in start. Oh wait, nope, wrong rocket.
冷却開始。
Frame deflector cooling is initiated.
44、43、42、41、40、39、38、
Let's go H3.
Yeah, here we go.
35、34、33、32、ウォーターカーテン散水開始。
Water spray system at the launch pad is activated.
Sound suppressor's on.
Yep, there's the water.
22、21、
Go JAXA.
Oh, they turn it on early.
18、
Yep.
17、
Go H3.
15、
フライトモードオン。
13、
Flight mode on.
11、10、
加工品トーチ点火。
Hydrogen barge igniter on.
全システム発射完了。
Go for
All
ignition.
systems are go for launch.
メインエンジンスタート。
Main engine start.
Send
Solid.
it.
There we go.
SRB3 点火。リフトオフ。
Fly, baby, fly.
Booster ignition and lift off.
H3 ロケット試験機2号機は2024年2月17日午前9時22分55秒に種子島宇宙センターから打ち上げられました。
We have a successful lift-off of H3 launch vehicle test flight number 2 from JAXA Tanegashima Space Center at 9:22:55 a.m. on February 11th, 2024. Japan Standard
That sounds normal, by the way.
打ち上げ以降ロケットの
Yeah, that
管
is a
制
normal
は
squeal.
竹崎発射管制塔から竹崎総合司令塔に引き継がれています。
The operation control of H3 has been switched from launch control center to range control center.
ロケットは現在東南東方向の太平洋上へ飛行しています。
H3 is now flying above Pacific Ocean.
Oh,
Yes.
he's down there.
That was awesome.
打ち上げ後1
I
分
love when you see that. We had it for USSF 124 and now this.
Man, that thing hightails it out of here.
ロケットは正常に飛行中。
I have so
地
many
上陸の
questions.
ロケット追尾状況も正常
About
です。
what?
The H3 flight is
Well,
on
let's-
hold, and the
I'll
ground
wait.
stations are tracking the
You
launch
wait.
vehicle, and all is good.
So
I'm entranced by this rocket.
last time this thing went on the H3 first flight, it took a really crazy out of plane burn late into
Oh,
the
yeah.
course stage. I want to see if this thing takes a right at Albuquerque here, so to speak.
It was noticeable in the contrail even.
Is the
Yep.
solids even sep yet? Did I miss that? Nope.
Not
I
yet.
think that was that them right there. That was them.
Yeah, there they
Yeah,
go.
just
You
now.
know, they tow them for a second, dude, and then they separate them.
And the core stage is what fuel?
Hydrolox.
So is it like? Is there any Delta heritage in there?
There's the
Delta's
turn.
derived
look-
from this.
Is that the turn?
Oh, there it goes. Yo!
It is. It's like
man.
sideways from the camera.
A lot of doglegging.
Oh, right into the clouds.
That's crazy.
This feels like Starbase all over again.
Always so wild
Honey?
seeing such a massive machine
Man.
do a turn like that.
The combustion of the first stage engine, attitude
Go
control,
H3,
and
go.
trajectory are all nominal.
I heard nominal.
The big test is going to be if the second stage ignites. If so, that'll be further than they got on Flight 1.
Yep.
And yeah, for those wondering, that is a normal turn for this rocket, surprisingly.
Yeah. They fly a really crazy dogleg trajectory to get out over the water. They don't want to, if I'm remembering correctly, they don't want to go near Okinawa, which is south of here. So if they're going into polar, they go out and they take a right. It's like it's like the polar launch corridor out of the Cape, kind of like that.
Except a little more dramatic, but yes.
Yeah, it's a little more pronounced, I guess.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So
Alright.
the satellite fairing has been separated. Now we have been able to confirm that. And so
Jake, people are focusing on the
vehicle,
launch right
test flight
now.
number 2
Come
has
back
been
later
launched.
and
It's going
continue.
quite steadily so far. And so the screen that you're able to see right now, and this is called the flight status indicator for public for the H3 launch vehicle, which is abbreviated to H3 FIP.
So it seems like everything's going good so far. Let's keep watching. And so I have questions.
What's up?
What was your response to my is there Delta heritage here question?
Delta 4 is derived from this. Fun fact. It's derived from the H2, not the H3.
Okay, H2. I was like, but this is only the second one of these. Interesting.
Yeah. You'd think it's vice versa, but no. Oh, no.
I feel like there's
By the way,
a really
I'm sure
good
Jake
story
will come
there.
back later.
Yep. Actually, cool thing about the H3 in the core stage, they can have up to 3 engines in the core stage. You can have, I think it's 2 or 3. Chat, I know somebody will correct me on this one, and yeah, if post that up in the chat, dudes, because I know they can have variable engines in the core stage for more performance.
It's so funny. Alan in chat said that, or asked if they're flying a northern polar corridor, which is like basically what you were saying, EJ.
No. All right. I'm not sure if these numbers updating here are actual numbers or a simulated number, but
I mean, that top left number is going down.
yeah, that's not ideal. If altitude's going up, velocity going down.
That's typically not nominal. And again, this is
No,
about
that means
when we
you're coasting.
Ignore the train there.
I like trains.
Yeah, the issue that they had during the first flight was the second stage not igniting.
Should we listen back in?
Hold on.
Let's see if we can listen back in.
Hang on a second.
So
that
we
number
still
is
have
going
some
down
time
slower.
until the next event.
Yeah,
so the main mission
she's ignited.
is the second stage
The-
orbit injection.
The number's going down slower.
Meaning the initial second stage engine cutoff, when it's completed and when the data is acquired, the
cool.
objective for
Yep,
this
she's going.
flight has been completed.
We're good.
All right.
So that is true.
So yeah, I mean, this is not a rocket I personally know a whole lot about. Like even the entire family. I don't know. Just EJ, just like talk at me about the H2 and the H3. Like go. What do you got?
So, yeah, this thing can have you can put 3 engines in the core stage, up to 3 engines in the core stage for the shuttle fans out there. I like tri-symmetry. Sawyer, I know you are a connoisseur of 3 engines, right?
Yes. Oh yeah.
So you could have 3 engines, 2 solids with this. Yeah, it's a Hydrolox core stage, Hydrolox second stage. Delta 4 is actually derived from the H2, and this is kind of the next version of the H2, and aptly named H3. I know, it's weird, right?
Who would have thought?
Yeah,
It's a nice
Jakey?
coherent naming scheme for a change.
Who would have thought, Jakey?
Yep.
And yeah, William Foss is asking if we stopped or if they stopped counting or we stopped. No, we just muted. We just muted them. Oh, that number!
Dude.
Look at that number.
He's going up much quicker.
So the number going down initially and then starting to go up indicates it's a low thrust to weight stage, but high efficient. So the hydrolocks. I mean, basically, it took a little bit of time for the stage to get going, but you know, if that number was just going down and it stayed going down, right, it would have been coasting to apogee, which is not what you want. But the fact that I saw it going down a little bit slower and then it started going up means you just have a lower thrust to weight ratio out of the second stage. But you got to remember, with thrust to weight ratio on second stages, you really want to opt for lower TWR and more delta V. But then again, it really depends on the launch vehicle, depends on what it's doing, depends on where it's going. This is a lower TWR, higher delta V stage. Kind of, I guess the closest similarity we would have over here is the delta cryogenic second stage or the interim cryogenic propulsion stage on SLS. Also cats.
Right. Also cats. Everyone in the chat is screaming at you to pet the cat, Sawyer.
What do you think I've been doing? I've been scratching under his chin, behind his ear.
Yeah, I mean it's a low energy upper or low thrust, high energy upper stage. Think like you were saying, the interim upper stage or Centaur, or along those lines. So and as that number's starting to cook, I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Keyboard.
I mean,
off the keyboard.
Why do they love keyboards
so
much?
Tabs. Continue talking while I figure out my tab situation.
They love. Well, it's like impossible. Laptops and keyboards.
I mean, Jack, on top of this is. Geez, full keyboard, huh? Oh man.
Uh-huh.
I mean, on top of this, I mean, Chad, if you guys notice, this is a pretty nuts trajectory here. You're 14,000 kilometers at 685 kilometers in altitude. That's a pretty high altitude to be at that velocity there. It kind of shows how much get up and go that first stage with the two solid rocket motors has. That's a really high insertion trajectory right there.
And in comparison, apparently this is a 12-minute second stage burn.
Holy
yeah,
moly.
She's a beast. I
Okay,
mean,
so then can we talk?
Man.
I have more questions. The screech, you were like, "This is normal." It's immediately, you're just like, "This is totally normal." Do you care to explain, please? It's like a turbo pump thing.
It's some kind of closeout system on the pad. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I know it's normal because I've heard it many times watching these launches.
Nice.
So I'm going to pull a question over from my chat. How does this compare to Polar Falcon 9 launches from the East Coast? It's kind of a similar trajectory, a little bit different. What this is basically trying to do is get around Okinawa, which is not. It's a little bit south. It's a good way southwest, but they're trying to go around the Philippines too. See that group of islands on the map view, kind of mid left, like between the left and the center third, right there. That group of islands, that's the Philippines. There's a lot of people there. You don't want to fly over that. Just like how Falcon 9 doesn't want to fly over Miami. Not a good idea. So that's why you kind of get that kind of tornado insertion trajectory here.
I mean, Falcon 9 might want to fly over Miami, but that's what FTS is for.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. But then again, also, if it flies right over Miami, you're going to have all the spring breakers reporting UFOs on TikTok.
Oh man.
God, I sound like such an old man.
Old man yells
darn
at cloud.
Kids and their TikToks.
Just because it's your final NSF live in your 20s doesn't mean... Yeah, no, you're old. You're old now. Welcome to being old. One of us. One of us.
I'm about to be in good company, yep.
Oh, but seriously, happy birthday, Sawyer.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah, it's Sunday. Thank you very much. The big 3-0.
EJ, if you have any more H3 chat questions, I'm looking at our chat. We don't come on, chat. Are you going to let yourselves get beaten by EJ's chat? I don't really see a whole bunch of questions in here.
There's a lot of nerds over there. Okay, there's a lot of nerds.
I believe it.
The nerddom over there. You know what I mean?
Sam's asking
them next to each other. Go ahead.
Sam is asking, on H3 and Vulcan, why do they tow the SRBs for so long? Isn't that a loss of Delta V? For no reason.
Yeah,
That's something
absolutely.
you specifically pointed out during, like, when we were watching it launch, was you're like, oh, they hang on to them for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a loss of Delta V. You're going to take, any Kerbal player knows, you get rid of those things as quickly as you can. It's about going more faster, more better. Jebediah Kerman, Michael Scott, Wayne Gretzky. All right, so they tow them because they want to get the SRBs out of the atmosphere a little bit. You don't want an atmospheric or aerodynamic perturbation moving that SRB and having it come back and hit the core stage. That's not going to be good for it. Usually tapping rockets with things, not good. Not a good thing. Generally, you probably shouldn't do that.
Much like cars,
so yeah.
they must never touch.
Yes, that's correct. So they'll tow them a little ways up into the higher parts of the atmosphere where the pressure is a little bit less. And so there's less aerodynamic perturbing forces on it. Because like if you separate it, the thing could come back and tip it. We don't want that.
Yeah, that would be bad. Man, what an insanely long second stage burn. I love it.
That's Hydrolox,
Still more
man.
to go.
Yep. The magic number we're looking for at 700 kilometers up there should be around 26,000 kilometers an hour, which is give or take like 17,200 miles an hour and change, somewhere in there.
How do you just know that? Stop it. Stop being so smart,
What?
EJ.
Yeah. Show
Dude,
off.
I get belittled
real,
by
please
my
don't.
European viewers for using miles on the daily.
All right, that's fair.
And then if I use metric, I get belittled by all my North American viewers. It's like I can't win, so I just know both. All right, like I know either one.
Right. Good job. I applaud you.
It happens, man. It's frustrating.
I mean, EJ is both nerdy enough and Boston-y enough to wear the shirt he's wearing, which if you haven't seen it, chat, EJ, do you mind?
Oh, no. That's all good. If you
Holy
get
shirt.
it, you get it. If you don't get it, you're going to be really confused. What's ARPA 1 locks?
If you don't get it, I'm shocked you're watching this right now.
Rip 1?
Yeah, it's RP1 and locks. Nice. Do you call it your
And for the
Carolox
sports
shirt?
fans, notice
Yes.
the font.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So whether those objects, we need to monitor, make sure that they
So
don't collide.
I saw
with
some folks in chat
ISS
say
and so
the
forth.
altitude is going down. That's okay. That's fine. A lot of the times, if you have a low thrust to weight, high energy upper stage, you're going to coast past your AP a little bit. That gives you better control of your insertion apogee. So you have a little bit better control doing that. At that end, it's just a low TWR, low energy stage.
Orbit injection would have been successful. So
600.
Peter's asking you to explain the H2 heritage for the Delta IV.
So the H2 was developed in the early 90s, and McDonnell Douglas was trying to get into the, not trying to get into, they needed Delta 3 was not working out. So the short story of that is that they farmed out
nice way to put it.
some engineering. Yeah. Delta 3 is not cool looking, not working out. So they farmed out some tech with the Japanese space program at the time, which I actually, it's not the Japanese space program. It's Mitsubishi. The H3 and H2 are Mitsubishi. Yeah, and H1. It's Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. So, 3000 GT VR4. Yeah. Or GTO for the rest of the world. Should be coming up on second stage engine cutoff.
the initial second stage and engine cutoff had been confirmed, and the
Bingo.
CSAT-1E will be separated soon.
All right.
That, 27,389 at 674. That's that is
Oh, this is
monster
what you want to see.
performance, dude. Heck
My-
yeah,
This is
man.
what you want to see.
CSAT-1E has been successfully separated.
All right.
First satellite deployed.
This will be the first satellite put into the second stage orbit. So it's so moving.
I am moved.
It is. I am moved. That was a really human moment, seeing them shake
My
hands
brakes
and
are
hug
locked.
like
I have
that.
not moved.
No, that's It's the best feeling in the world, all right? Like, I've only done that in Kerbal Space Program, and it feels great in KSP. I can only imagine what that feels like in, like actually doing that. Just feel like $1 million.
Yeah, especially
Genuinely
after
impressive,
having a failure on your first flight and then having the second flight be like the bounce back.
Yep.
It's like the comeback story. It's the comeback story. Cool deal. Well, we will see if there's any more information on that while we progress through our little show here. But next up, I guess we should probably talk about SpaceX launching IM-1, a mission to the moon from 39A in, what, 50-something years? 60? Oh, God, it's been too many years. It's been too many years.
Since 1972.
Yep.
So, what was that, 52 years? Well, just on 51 and a half-ish, but yeah.
Fellas, I got a question, though. What about, what about Peregrine? Like, does that count? Like, that was a lander.
Where did it launch from?
It's got you there. That's the distinction, yeah.
Yeah,
all right. My guy. Okay, there you go.
We're talking the historic Launchpad 39A, which has so far carried all humans to the moon.
So yeah,
this is the first lunar launch from that pad in 52 years, and the last time that it actually went to send a lander to the moon, it also carried 3 people on board, 2 of which would land in Gene Cernan and Harrison Schmitt.
Yep.
Do you guys... Okay, wait. Completely off the rails. Do you guys have a favorite...
Gino?
Yeah? Do you have a favorite Apollo astronaut? Like what...
John Young.
John Young? Quality answer.
Yeah.
Quality answer.
Albeen.
Sawyer?
Albeen.
Also a quality... There's really no wrong answer. They were all amazing human beings. I do like me some Harrison Schmitt. Go ahead.
I was going to say, haven't you followed in the steps of Neil Armstrong? And I love how he said that may have been one small step for Neil, but it was a giant leap for me. And then he did the artwork later in his life, which was spectacular.
It is really
the
pictures.
lunar artwork. Yeah, he would use his boot to put boot prints on it, like the actual lunar boot. Some of them had moon dust in it. That's cool.
So cool.
And yes, I've met him.
All right, so sorry.
On the wall behind me.
Dang it!
I was going to ask. With the Sawyer Flex, we have now completed the off the rails cycle, and we can go back to talking about IM-1.
I like trains.
Sorry.
I also do like trains.
Yeah, trains are cool. But anyway, rockets are cooler.
There it is.
we seriously have a card for Flex Time with Sawyer now. Oh my god!
And that's not the only one. Hopefully, I'll get to use the other card later.
What? There's more than one card?
There's more than one card.
No. I know what the other one is. No.
Uh-huh.
No.
Uh-huh.
No.
We'll save it for the right moment.
I suspect I know what it involves, but let's just let's move right along. Sawyer, were you at the Cape for IM-1?
No, I was not. I was actually commentating on the launch because, I mean, this launch was just really cool. Besides the fact that it was the second of the day, we'll get to that. It had the landing at LZ-1, and just seeing that lunar lander deploy afterwards was absolutely amazing. And this little lunar lander, made by Intuitive Machines, Nova C, on the IM-1 mission, is just so cool. I mean, the thermal protection system that they're basically using to monitor the temperature on the lander is the same stuff that's inside Columbia sportswear jackets. Part of the IMUs were tested on a Toyota Tundra. It's like the most ragtag team coming up with, hey, take a look at this off-the-shelf stuff. We're going to use this to land on the moon. And then also the fact that they had to load it with methane through Falcon 9, so Falcon 9 actually became Methalox for a bit, and that this will be the first cryogenic lander to land on the moon. I mean, tell me that's not cool. And all of this, again, from historic Launchpad 39A.
And my guy. Yeah.
I'm right there with you. Dude. Super cool. And like now SpaceX has the capability to load methane for any customer that wants it at 39A onto whatever's in the payload fairing, which is a really interesting little tweak that they've added.
Impulse.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Got something in my throat.
Yeah, you get some. You can get some water if you want. But
no, that's a good idea.
yeah, there you can see payload SEP. It's got 6 legs. In some of the pictures in my head, I was like, I know it has 6, but it looks like it has 4. But no, there you go, CL6.
Dude.
And the fact that it launched with them already deployed. It's not like they were folded up.
That picture is awesome. I like drones.
Right?
Well, hopefully we'll get to see another cool picture of it when we get Eagle Cam, which is a payload that's on board from Embry-Riddle. Turns out the guy who's basically in charge of all of Intuitive Machines went to Embry-Riddle, and he went to them and was like, hey, challenge for you guys. Come up with a payload for this. And they created Eagle Cam, which will separate away from the lander as it's landing, and I believe at about 30 meters or so above the surface, we'll start capturing video externally of the landing. So it'll be the first time ever that we capture video of a lunar landing from a third-person perspective.
That's really cool.
So
That's
cool.
really freaking cool.
That's amazing.
Oh, man.
If you're at a university and doing aerospace anything, and you have the opportunity to make some kind of payload or something, you can't go wrong by selecting something camera related. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm a camera nerd, but you know, any kind of ways that we can show and document these things in new ways is I'm so here for it.
Well, I mean, I think it's a prudent thing to say that the commercial market for space is exploding right now. Not actually, that would be bad. But don't we? You know, pictures are a good way to sell it, Jack. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
Every picture is a way to get people excited about it, a way to get potentially future customers. Who knows? Blah blah blah. You get it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
dude,
this is also part of
ahead,
NASA's commercial. This is part of NASA's commercial lunar programs that they're working on. Basically, it's kind of working side by side to help prepare for Artemis. So this is also landing near the lunar South Pole, which will eventually be the target for the Artemis landings and potentially a Mars base or moon base, in the future. So this is really kind of testing out. Well, yeah, but you know, got to kind of start for the moon lander on the moon. If the moon lander is on Mars, we have a serious problem.
I mean, that'd be impressive overperformance. I'm even mad.
Yeah, especially having to deal with an atmosphere. But yeah, it's an exciting area. It's using the new terrain laser system basically to check the ground and make sure that it's on the right trajectory and that where it's landing is smooth and flat, up until the point where it'll end up being obscured by the lunar dust, where it just uses the IMUs, but the Toyota Tundra ones. But still, it's just, I mean, this is all leading up to humans back to the moon, even if it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, man. You said that light navigation there, they're using optical sensors to sense the ground. It's not like a like radar bouncing off the surface. They have like laser pointers that are pointed out on this thing that are going to reflect a certain amount of light, and how they reflect is going to tell it how high it is off the ground, right? Like that's how that works.
Would that be LiDAR? Or is it separate and distinct from LiDAR?
No, these are like yeah, I mean, I guess LiDAR is infrared, right?
I think. Actually, I don't know. I would not be able to say with authority if it was infrared or what.
No, I think this is a little different than LiDAR. This is just a straight optical sensor. I'm not sure if it's visible light or if it's infrared. I would have to go look, but that's a good question.
Interesting. So yeah, it's part of the CLIPS program. I mean, basically an Artemis program launch in a way, and it'd be super cool to see this thing attempt to touch down on the moon. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, okay, I'm looking in chat. Not LiDAR, optical laser sensing. Yeah, there you go. That's crazy.
That sounds way cooler than LiDAR.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Actually, the other thing that I wanted to talk about real quick is, we got some nice footage of the ascent over here. If you look, if we could scrub through to payload separation and you look at the insertion velocity here, I mean, Nova C is not a big lander, right? That's not a big payload size, but it kind of shows, if you lower your final mass on on a rocket that's designed for low Earth orbit insertion, you can shoot something out to the moon on a high energy transfer. If you look at the velocity when they separated the payload on Falcon 9, it is very fast. That's a high energy transfer. It's not as high energy as the Apollo transfers, which, you really had to brute force that thing up there because the life support systems only last a certain amount of time. But, you also have the clock is ticking here because of the cryogenic propellants on board. So this is actually a pretty high energy insertion. It's going to get there on the 22nd. That's pretty quick. It's pretty quick. And that shows kind of how much Falcon 9 has been a workhorse. Like, I get it, with a lighter payload mass, you get more delta V, but it's still really wild to just see a single stick Falcon 9 just pushing stuff out to land on the moon. Okay, no problem. Yeah, see, look at the numbers over there. Crazy.
Sometimes Falcon 9 can derisively be referred to as like a LEO optimized rocket, and it's like, well, it can send some stuff out there.
Yeah, it can indeed. And also, just in comparison to the Apollo program, the Apollo program orbited before it did its translunar injection burn, the TLI, basically so they could do checkouts on all the systems, do everything they need to do in low Earth orbit, and if something's wrong, you're close enough to come back home without having to do the free return trajectory. This one doesn't have any meat bags on board, so that's not as much of an issue. So it's working. The fuels are there. You're getting power positive. Great. Cool. Go to the moon. Goodbye.
Yep. It is wild. We watched that over on my end. And when the thing separated, I'm like, this is happening right now. This is really freaking cool. Just shooting
so
stuff
many
off
different,
to the moon.
Right. So many different things headed to the moon this year alone. It really does feel like the start of the beginning. I don't know.
Moon.
Wild
moon.
is right.
Moon.
Yeah, and the crowd softly chants, "Moon, moon, moon." Robert is asking if there's going to be a live broadcast of the lunar landing. Do we know if there's going to be a live broadcast of the lunar landing? I sure hope there is, streamed or something.
I would hope so. I mean, if you guys were watching this when this thing went, I have to say, Intuitive Machines Mission Control is A, fantastic, and B, their presentation was very good. Shout out to the gentleman that was commentating for them. That guy was pretty good, and their mission control looks like the bridge of the Starship Enterprise. Yep.
Intentionally.
Yep.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
On purpose. That doesn't suck.
No, that's pretty dang cool, if I had to use a technical term.
Yep.
I don't know if it adds any delta V to the rocket, but I mean, hey, close.
Gotta sell it. You gotta sell
Put some stripes on. Put some speed stripes on the fairing. It'll be like the IM fairing. Anyway,
I am faring very well. Thank you for asking.
Oh God, no! Don't do the card. No.
Yes. I am waiting for it.
Are we safe?
There
oh
it
God, no!
You can't escape pun time.
It's pun time with Sawyer. It's always a pun time with Sawyer.
Oh boy.
I don't even know where to go from here. Xbar says, did the lander use the same separation system from Falcon 9 as Cygnus on NS-20? The same separations. I don't know anything about the SEP system.
Was the statement?
They're asking, did the lander use the same separation system from Falcon 9 as Cygnus on NS-20?
No, I don't think so. Cygnus is a little bit bigger. You'd need, believe it or not, it's going to sound a little weird, you'd need a decoupler, or you'd need a separation mechanism with a little more impulse to push that thing away. The lander is a little bit lighter than Cygnus. That's a great question, though. I mean, there are standardized sizes for different rockets with different types of what are called payload attachment fittings. There's a payload adapter on Falcon 9 that's inside of the fairing that's kind of a cone shape. It looks like a cone adapter from KSP that can have different like sized pieces attached to it. There are different standards for PAFs, payload attachment fittings. So they're some of them are similar, they're similar in design, but I don't think it was. Obviously, it's not the same flight hardware. I don't think it was the same design. I think that the one for Cygnus is something more like Antares, right? So they probably did some hot rodding there between making a one-off payload attachment fitting that can adapt like Falcon to Cygnus, right? So it's got more adapters on it than the ISS. No, I'm just kidding. So I don't think they're the same.
This baby can adapt so many payloads, slaps rocket.
But yeah, there are standards and guidelines for every rocket for different payload attachment fittings. The crazy part about this is that like if you're looking at like a Falcon 9 transporter mission, so like the Transporter 9 was the last one that flew. The transporter, if you notice, it has like a big post going up. That is just payload attachment fittings stacked on top of each other. I say it's just payload attachment fittings stacked on top of each other like that's some simple thing to do. It's just rocket surgery, whatever. It's fine. No, that is that size that's being adapted out to be able to radially shoot off payloads, which is actually super cool. And then sometimes on a transporter mission, SpaceX will put a decoupler up at the top of that post and shoot a satellite off the front. The front won't fall off, it will detach.
Front detaches.
Yes.
That is normal.
Yep, and it is outside of the atmospheric environment.
Correct.
Yep.
Sammy SpaceX says, they hope my bagel was good. It was delicious, but I hesitate to even mention it on stream. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But wait, we have Falcon 9 to talk about yet again, because it flew on its 300th launch. But there's some granularity to that number, right? Who wants to explain the number?
Sawyer, I've been talking. It's all you, man.
Well, thank you. So we had the launch from Vandenberg, which ended up being the 300th Falcon 9 launch, but there's a lot of things that are being counted into that as well. It depends on if you count the in-flight abort test, which technically flew, but it wasn't an orbital flight, so you can knock one down for that. In addition, I believe that also counts Amos 6, which the only reason it got off the ground was because of an explosion. So it never really launched per se, and even so, obviously didn't make orbit, so you can knock that one down and it be 298. So it really depends on how you're counting of whether it's the 300th. It's basically the 300th Falcon family rocket that's been on the pad. The 300th Falcon on the pad, not necessarily the actual launch of a 300th, I think is the safe way to explain the Starlink 7-14 mission. I mean, look at that tracking, by the way. Jack, amazing work. This was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Wait, it's the 300 number is including Amos 6?
Oh, no, it doesn't count Amos 6, sorry. With Amos 6, it was 301, so that was what I meant. It was the other way with that one. No.
It's like, I tweeted that! No!
No, so if you count it, it's 301. If you don't, you're at 299, and then you've got in-flight abort. It's a lot.
So yeah, it was
dude, no matter how you... Yeah, exactly, man. No matter how you cut it... Guys, sorry, there's a little bit of delay. That's why we kind of keep talking over each other. Maybe we should do this, actually all together one time. That would be a good idea, right? Right? All right.
I'm in.
EJ's off the rails segment, back to normal. Sawyer, I think it's kind of crazy. The internet loves to argue about everything. I guarantee you I'm going to get a bunch of no we don'ts in chat here in a second. I think the more poignant thought here is that we're up to 300 of anything that has to do with space. That's pretty freaking cool. The fact that this rocket goes off pretty much every 2 days, and the fact that we had, 3 Falcon 9s in 24 hours is bananas. I mean, SpaceX is targeting 144 launches this year. It's just normal. Starlink 714, just another day, man.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, that's a good point. That was the fastest turnaround between 3 launches in the fact that it was 23 hours and change. So it was just under 24 hours, beating the previous record of a day and a couple hours. So, I mean, they keep getting faster. And keep in mind that all 3 of them, in addition to launching their payload successfully, landed successfully, with USSF 124 at LZ2, Nova C, the lander, at LZ1, and then Starlink on, of course, I Still Love You, the drone ship.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
I believe just about 200, almost 200 launches successfully in a row.
200 successful consecutive landing is the barge milestone too.
Unbelievable.
Pretty dang cool.
Unbelievable.
And there was no fog. And there was no fog.
Yeah,
I just have to underscore.
Right.
There was no fog.
Well,
Vandenberg launch, no fog. I have to take the wins where I get them, okay?
I'll give you that one.
Jack, you're a proprietor of all things West Coast, right? Is it Lompoc or Lompoc?
Don't ask me that. That's not. Don't do that. Can we not do that? Can I? Is there like a button I can hit to pass? Because I truly don't know. I think I say Lompoc, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong, and I don't care if I'm. I do care if I'm wrong, but it's not one of those things where I'm going to do a mini tribalism where I'm like, you're wrong if you say it, because I truly have no idea.
A mini tribalism.
Is that like
I like that.
Is that like someone from the Northeast trying to say whether it's the caucus or Sea Caucus in New Jersey?
Oh,
yeah.
Jeez. Oh,
it's one of those things where if you say it wrong, people that are locals like know immediately that you're not a local.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's this. I'm probably gonna dox myself. Oh God. I live in a spot of LA called Los Feliz, and I call it Los Feliz because Feliz Navidad. That's the everyone knows how to pronounce Feliz. It's a Spanish word.
The happy?
LA people, I guess LA people say Los Feliz. Los Feliz. And then you say Los Feliz, and they look at you like you're crazy. And I'm like, you're crazy. You're saying Los. Anyways, we are so far off the rails. Lompoc.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the correct one is. Chat seems to be saying Poc, but I'm no authority.
And if you don't know it's the caucus, anyone going to the 2026 FIFA World Cup final will get to know it intimately, and I apologize.
I was going to say it's by the Meadowlands, isn't it? It's right by the stadium. It's great, beautiful stadium. Not so much around it. Bam.
Yeah, and Jimmy Hoffa's body is nearby somewhere too, buried under the stadium. But that's a whole nother topic. Let's get right back onto Rockets.
I do not recall these events at this time.
I'm 100% here for EJ accents. I'm so here for it. But really quick, before perhaps we get any more, I do want to thank people who are supporting the stream and supporting what we do. Anonymous grabbed some stuff from the store, and they said, "You're doing great. Keep up the good work, and clean your room." It's not that dirty.
See, that's why I got a green screen, man.
Smart. It's EJ with the big brain moments, like left and right. We should just change the name from NASA Space Flight Live to EJ with the big brain moments, left and right. Like that's just the whole name. Like, let's do it.
Can we not do that, please?
Featuring Pun Time with Sawyer.
Joshua also doing or getting some stuff from the store, saying, "I love watching NASA Space Flight every day and love the live chat." Thank you guys. Thank you so much, Joshua. Grabbing the patch. EJ, did you see the new patch?
I did. What
are your thoughts?
It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. It's one of those kind of surreal things. Just like 300 or 298 Asterix Falcon launches. The fact that we're here testing Starlink, not Starlink, Starship. There's too many things with Star. The fact that we've even gotten to IFT3 with Starship is just crazy. Not to be the old man, but back in my day. No, I remember when we were reading about the Air Force Research Laboratory with SpaceX doing kind of a little get-together talking about putting Raptor upper stages on Falcon 9 in 2016. And that didn't seem like it was that long ago. Sorry, I don't mean to do that, but yeah, it wasn't that long ago, okay? And but now here we go, another full stack. We were, just counting the wet dress rehearsals. We had one yesterday, one today. Looks like it didn't go too good. We'll talk more about that later. But it is the fact that this patch even exists just blows my mind. We're actually at this point where they're testing Starship on a relatively high frequency comparatively to any other rocket tested. It's pretty dang fun to watch.
Yep. Perhaps more than Starship flights themselves, I'm excited for more Starship flights because that means we'll get more patches.
Yep.
I know it's cheesy, but for real, I think this thing's gorgeous, and I'm excited to see what we do with like the patch thing. I think it's a cool thread to pull. See what I did there?
And remember, if you merge pie today, it goes over Jack.
It does. It is. You can put some stuff over my face if you're tired of looking at it. Which, to be frank, I don't blame you. Das broke out Das broke out the caliper on stream earlier because we were complimenting his.
That is a very Das thing to do.
It is the most Das thing to do.
In both metric and imperial.
Nice. So yeah, patch exists.
Yeah. Nice.
Cool. What shall we talk about next? Do we want to hit Starship at the Cape?
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about this. Yeah, absolutely.
EJ, go run with it a bit, and then we'll see what Sawyer thinks as a Florida man. That's right. I called you Florida man.
Oof. Oh, I do Florida man things. I just don't tell you on air.
What?
Continue, EJ.
Was that a Sawyer flex? I think that might have been a Sawyer flex.
What's happening? Okay. All right. So we actually, I'd have to look at the card, but basically there was a kind of a draft out for, what was it? I think it was environmental impact surveys on SpaceX launching Starship from Slick 37, which is right now it's a Delta IV pad, but there's only one more Delta IV left, and when that goes, ULA will vacate, and SpaceX could potentially. Thank you. There's the link in the chat. We got a website in the Alex tweet. Give me one moment. I'm just going to bring that up here. I think it was just okay. This is my opinion, right? This is not, someone's going to tell me I'm wrong anyway, so it's fine. I honestly thought they would move. Like, this was just kind of my crazy EJ hopium thing. I thought they would move Falcon operations to Slick 37 A and B and make it a twin pad complex again, and move Starship operations to 39 where there's already a Starship pad. The fact that these the environmental impact surveys are showing up here and they're specifically talking about Starship operations at 37 was a little bit of a curveball. I mean, I woke up to this spectacular Alex tweet this morning. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. That's didn't see that one coming.
I feel like it's logical though, right? Like, it's not out of the blue in the sense that it seems wild. It just sort of makes sense. The last Delta is going to launch here in March, and it's a very capable pad with a whole bunch of pre-existing infrastructure ripe for the picking. I mean, ULA has no plans to use it for Vulcan, so here we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
although the document does talk about. Oops, sorry. I was going to say the document does talk about tearing down and tearing out a lot of the already existing infrastructure. So I don't know how much of that would actually remain. And another fun fact is that the official name of the pad is 37B. If you're wondering where 37A is, doesn't exist. They never built A. So this is a chance potentially for a 37A and B, maybe for two different towers. Or a landing zone? Something?
That would be fantastic. Wait, Sawyer, you're specifically talking about like Delta IV. When they built out the Delta IV program 20, let's just say it was 20 years ago. It was not, but in my mind, it is. When they were first building it out, they only built, Slick 37 was originally a twin pad complex for Saturn, like for the Apollo program. And then it was dormant for a really long time. And, McDonnell Douglas at the time, and then later Boeing, took one of the pads and they made it into an operational pad. And then the other one is just a nice pedestal brick of concrete, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. It was the original plan was to have the A and B, but once Delta IV came in, they're like, all right, we'll take 37B. What about A? It's there. But they still call it 37B officially, even though by now we all just say 37 because it's the one pad. But it's fun to keep in mind that that's actually a dual pad. So when they're talking about the potential of launch and landing there or multiple launch pads at 37, it's technically two launch complexes there, so it's very doable.
I would really like to see this. to say the least.
And it's there were three main things that were mentioned as the potential. It was repurposing 37. It was not doing anything at all with launch and landing and not applying for FAA licensing, which we know is also probably not going to happen in a million years. And then the third option, we were thinking it was going to be LC-49, which has been talked about. There's the land there for it. But this actually mentions an LC-50, which in logical sense is between launch pads 40 and 37, right?
Yeah. Now, see, my brain's going, wait a minute. Isn't complex 34 between? No, 34 is on the south side of that. Yeah,
40
there's
and
just
41 is the concerns there, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, me getting confused by this originally was just me kind of hoping that Starship would roll out of the VAB next to an SLS. I know that's me just wishing that would happen. I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. But yeah, I mean that other pad between 40 and 37, there's water and just brush there. Interesting.
It's wild to think, like, if these plans come through, what the skyline out at the Cape is going. It's going to start just being like Starship towers left and right. It's going to be.
I'm here for it.
Add in the blue towers as well. It's going to be a lot of tall towers and 39B.
More towers, more better.
Dude, here's the kicker. Here's the kicker question. You know, the Delta 4 pad at the Cape has the potential to be a Starship pad. Is the Delta 4 pad at Vandenberg going to be for Starship as well? We know SpaceX has that.
Yeah, buddy. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I certainly hope that ends up being a thing.
Wouldn't that be something?
Just similar to me talking about how SpaceX is buying or renting these pads, and it's like a no-brainer because Delta is such a massive rocket, and SpaceX is also building a massive rocket. It's just a no-brainer. Like, can we please Starship at Slick 6?
Any shuttle fans out there? Polar wants around Starship. It could do it. It could do it, man. It could
you got a satellite.
No space shuttle.
You got a satellite. You need to deploy in a super secret orbit that's also the size of 9 meters in diameter.
Yep.
SpaceX will do it. You want to snatch up a whole bunch of satellites for the DoD?
What?
Starship, baby. What?
It doesn't do that. What are you talking about?
Redacted.
I cannot wait till we get Polar Starship.
Yeah.
Yes,
that'd be wild,
and not out of the Cape. Oh my God. What do you think will happen first? What do you think will happen first? Southern Polar Corridor Starship or Vandenberg Starship?
Southern Polar.
I think South Polar.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
I can hope, but yeah.
I can't even argue it. Like you're just right. It's yes. Dang it.
By the way,
stupid.
Kev, if you could bring that picture up again that you just had, I think it's worth pointing out the second option. As much as we're talking about 37, as gray as it is, see that red circle there? That is the proposed area of where a Slick 50 would go. Why is the numbering so ridiculous to have it around 37 and 40 and 41 be 50? Wish I could tell you, but that's where Slick 50 would be.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, like I said, there's just woods there. And swamp.
Yeah. Alex point out, circle not sponsored by Microsoft Paint.
Thanks, Alex. John Depker, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. I said your name. I saw him in chat 30 minutes ago, asking me to say his name because I always botch it. Thank you, John, for all the support. And Blake Alexander upgrading to Launch Director. I feel like there should be a bell or something like ding, 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 ding. Seriously, though, that is one of our higher levels of support. And you get all of the cool things. Like earlier today for the wet dress rehearsal attempt in Starbase, we had a members-only multi-view, which you get access to. But Launch Director is also the people, the launch directors and the flight engineers get their name at the end of NASA Spaceflight Live episodes. So all kinds of cool perks. Thank you. It's like an insane amount of support. So it's very, very much appreciated, Blake.
I was going to say, why are we getting music? There's still plenty of show left.
I was going to say, you want to wrap us up?
Is Kevin mad at me? Oh, it's because I asked for bells. It's because I asked for bells. It's because I said I wanted ding, ding, ding.
It's okay. I
got you, it's the launch director tune.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got you.
Nice. Yeah, thank you. Can I get a little more?
A fever. Ah, guess what? Guess what? What cowbell?
I need to work on my walking impression. I aspire to have a
really walking in general, but that's another story.
Whoa!
Wait, EJ, say something about space in walking voice.
Do you understand the concept of the space? There's a lot of space. It's right in the name. There's a lot of space up there. You know, you look up there. It's, oh my God! There's a lot of space. Is that good?
Pretty good. I'm mightily pleased. Thank you.
All right.
Would fit perfectly in the Super Bowl commercial.
Oh.
Parker is saying it's Lompoc.
It is. Good man.
Right. Lompoc. Dr. JJ Julius is asking, apart from Starship, does SpaceX have any other major projects in work? Boy, do they. They've got, well, should we just like go down the list? Like, there's Gateway or Dragon XL. There's extended fairing on Falcon Heavy. There is, of course, the little tiny thing that's not really of any consequence called Starlink, which I'm, of course, being facetious. The human landing system is like a subset of Starship, and probably a whole bunch of stuff. Star Shield, thank you. What else you got?
Yep. You covered Gateway, you covered HLS, you covered Starship. We got Starlink.
We have Star Shield, which is like fancy Starlink for the government.
Yep. There's still Crew Dragon and Cargo Dragon.
Yeah.
Of course. Crew Dragon. The little tiny thing called Crew Dragon.
SpaceX is also working on another project, building a new headquarters in Bastrop, Texas. They're building a big HQ out just a little ways. I think it's to the east of Austin. There's like Boring Company HQ out there. SpaceX HQ is out there. It's a little way. It's kind of near the Gigafactory, Giga Texas. So I don't know if that counts as like another project, but they are building a big HQ down there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like, it also makes me feel like Starbase should be listed as one of their projects, you know, because Starship, yeah, that's a whole program that encompasses a whole lot of things, but specifically building out the infrastructure at Starbase and, you know, replacing tents with a massive factory, I would definitely count that as a project. So lots. The answer to your question, Dr. JJ Julius, is lots of other projects.
And Dean pointed out as well, EVA spacesuits as well for Polaris Dawn.
Yeah. Polaris. Every time I feel like, every time I feel like we've thought of all the things, someone else is like, oh, and then this. That's pretty great. And surely there's a lot of things that they're working on internally that we have no idea or inkling of that one day they'll just announce. Like Direct to Cell was kind of out of nowhere. Direct to Cell, that's another one.
I mean, that's with T-Mobile. There's also SpaceX working with the U.S. Transportation Command to evaluate point-to-point Starship for humanitarian aid supply transport.
The shifty eyes.
I can hear crispy happy noises already.
Yes. Yeah. Good answers all. Good job.
Oh, and also the fact that they now have Starlink on airplanes. There's a bunch more planes that are getting equipped with it.
Which, oh my God.
Nuts.
We could do like a full Seinfeld up.
Uh-oh.
How bad Wi-Fi on planes is.
Oof.
Apparently how bad your Wi-Fi is too there, Jack. It's dropped out for a second right as you said that.
Again?
Yeah, it was just for a second.
The Wi-Fi heard me and enacted its retribution on me. It heard me talking Wi-Fi smack. Here's one. This is all you, EJ. Demian is asking, how does Falcon 9 roll since it only has a single gimbaling engine RCS thrusters? It does not only have a single gimbaling engine, right? Can't all 9 gimbal?
I think it's the E1 and the E9 engine, or the E1 and the E5 engine can also. I think. Pretty sure. Chat, get me a fact check. See, the way I see it, people are going to fact check me anyway. So let's at least get the information right.
I mean, Alex is saying that they all gimbal, which yes, but are you talking about they use E1 and 9 specifically for roll?
I mean, that's what I mean, you would ideally not want to just gimbal one or two engines if they're on that outer ring of 8. Alex, right? Like they would probably tilt every single engine. That's a good question though. Super good question.
Yeah, he says the center engine has a slightly higher angle. Oops, sorry.
No, go ahead.
There you go.
No, it says that the center engine has a slightly higher angle of gimbaling than the other 8 ones, but he's mostly sure that they end up using all of them. And also, Kevin, thank you for cutting to me before. I guess it was my turn to talk about gimbal.
Wow. Well, he's waiting for the card. He's waiting for the card. Cool. So I guess we'll move on to Starbase and there we go. It's the card. Yay.
Woo!
EJ is so mad right now.
I am so happy right now.
So yeah, Starbase, Starship Flight 3. We're getting into it. SpaceX has now tried twice to perform a wet dress rehearsal, at least we think. With the most recent attempt being this morning, and they got a little bit more prop in the vehicle, and then aborted. So, question mark? Anybody's guess as to what happens next? I don't know if you have any thoughts, EJ, if you were watching along this morning with all the venting and condensation goodness.
Oh yeah, no, I was watching. I mean, can I speak to the specifics? Nope, I have no idea. My guess is as good as anybody here. But I will tell you, I mean, one thing that if you know just a little bit about like systems engineering, like this thing is scrubbed. A wet dress rehearsal with the stack, with the Flight 3 stack, is scrubbed 2 times. So that tells me that the parameters have changed from the last time. So that tells me that something is very different on this. Do I know what it is? Nope, no idea. I have no clue. But obviously they've done wet dress rehearsals with 2 prior stacks, right? Those worked, right? So
maybe even
these ones aren't, so they must have changed something.
I forget, did they do a wet dress rehearsal with... No, I guess they couldn't have with 20 and 4 because the tower didn't even have arms at that point.
Mm-hmm. No, that was I think more for show.
I was thinking about it in my head. I'm like, oh, they've stacked 3 times. Oh, no, okay, they didn't tank that one. Oh.
Right. But yeah, they've changed a whole bunch of hardware or added a bunch of hardware to the orbital tank farm, and this vehicle is not the exact same as all the previous ones, and nor was the fuel loading. They're loading on the ship first, where previously we've seen them load on the booster first, which I don't know, maybe that could be a contributing factor to whatever issue they may or may not be. This is like, we just need like a blaring speculation horn, because we don't get any. Look at I have to stop the venting, the crazy venting that we saw. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, we
everything all at once.
We don't exactly know what the deal is, but there's a whole bunch of factors that could potentially be involved.
Well, I mean, you said it yourself right there. Like, we can't speak to specifics, obviously, but Jack, you said, I didn't see that part. They tanked Starship before Super Heavy this morning.
Yep.
So
and
there you go.
And with the previous wet dress attempt as well.
That is a completely different refueling procedure and filling procedure. Like they've clearly changed up the timelines on their fueling sequence. And I don't know. I mean, a little bit on the nerd side of things, because fueling a rocket, that's the most dangerous part. A tanked rocket, like a fully tanked vehicle, is relatively safe, and obviously one with no fuel in it is pretty safe. It's when you're actually fueling, especially if you're using cryogenic fuels. The fueling procedure is super important to get right, because the rocket's going through a lot of transit. You're changing the pressure. You're changing the molecular structure of the vehicle by cooling it off so much, right? You're changing a lot of things all at once. And if you're using densified propellants like SpaceX is on top of that, or densified liquid oxygen, if you're using that as well, you're introducing a lot of changing variables in a relatively fast sequence. That is super not dangerous, but it's just changing all those things at once. It's something that needs to be really kind of that's a procedure that needs to be down cold. It needs to be down pat. And I know it's cold first.
I beat you to it. He beat you to it.
But don't do it.
But yeah, to your point, it's almost like an airliner where the dangerous parts are takeoff and landing, not the steady state of cruise. When the vehicle is being tanked, that's the really sketchy part. When it's sort of in a steady state and stable, that's less sketchy than when you're getting all those transients during loading. So, new card.
It's first off, I'll give it to you. That was worth the card. But the other thing I was going to say is that with both of these tests, we really got to see the methane side spool up like crazy before they started loading up the ship. And if we're talking about dangerous propellants here, you're talking super cooled liquid methane, or methane for those who prefer, loading into the ship like that. I can see why they may have stopped on that first one of trying to load the ship first, then the booster starting with the methane up there. It was wild today, just with the clouds and the atmosphere, just seeing how active that really was before they tried tanking it.
I'm looking for questions.
That's the way it is.
Thanks, Sawyer. I'm looking for questions. Chat, if you have any Starship questions, throw them in chat at NASA Spaceflight. We'll see what we can get. But here's one from David asking, could they have just been adding propellant just past the new baffles in just to make sure they hold on to cryo temps? I mean, maybe, perhaps. But they did evacuate the village, which leads me to believe that, they only really do that when there's a large amount of combustible material that's expected to be at the pad. So I wouldn't have expected them to evacuate the village for just a partial propellant load attempt, if that makes sense.
Right, especially considering how much those propellants take to truck all of them in and load up all of the tanks and everything. If you're going for it at that point, why test it just to that point? Go for the full test, and if you see a problem at that point, then you stop the test, which we've seen them stop mid-tanking now 2 times in a row. Doesn't necessarily mean that's why. But if you're going to bring all those propellants in, might as well try loading up the whole vehicle, and if you have to stop early, you stop early.
Well said. Scott Harrod says it must have been a faulty ground umbilical carrier plate. And then we cut to Sawyer, and we see Sawyer shiver.
No, don't say it.
Even as a joke, Scott, it still hurts.
EJ, you get it.
Oh, yeah, I do. Is my mic working, gentlemen?
Yes, I got you loud and clear.
Sound better.
Cool. Chat, 5x5, we good?
What's chat saying? Let's see.
Yep.
Good deal.
And I can actually get a ping from 2 chats. This is great.
More chats, more better?
Okay.
Question mark?
Much better. Hey, Twitch chat responded first. I don't know. I'm just saying. Oof. Sorry, Matt. Like, they replied first. They're nerdier in there.
Come on, YouTube chat, do better. I believe in you, YouTube chat. Oh,
but keep in mind, YouTube chat is the only one that has the awesome NSF emotes.
I also believe in Jake. That meow came through, Sawyer.
Yeah, we heard him.
It did. It was adorable. It melted my cold, dead heart. Hi, Jake.
And he just left the room, but yeah.
He's like, oh, who's this guy? He wears too much orange. That's my color.
It's orange.
Hey, it's funny. I was talking earlier of someone I know got a shirt with their cat face on it. I'm like, I don't have a shirt with Jake's face on it. And they're like, no, trust me. He's on your lap enough. Keep him there, and your shirt will become Jake. Which they're not wrong, as I choose to wear black today.
So it goes. I used to have a cat. My roommate has a cat now, but I used to have a cat. She passed. But when she was alive, I got a little bub shirt you know, the internet cat, Lil Bub, and it's just like the big Lil Bub face. I wore one similar to it in Starbase Update recently, but I wore that shirt around my cat for the first time, and she did the full-on like Halloween cat, you know, where she like arched her back and puffed all her fur up because she thought my shirt was like a real cat. So what I'm saying is, yes, you should get a shirt with Jake's face on it, just so you can mess with Jake. Anyways, Starship, huh?
Oh, I already got him a cuddle clone which is basically, you know, you send him the pictures and they make a stuffed version of him. He ended up playing with it like it was another cat as opposed to hissing at it.
That's amazing. I did not know that was a thing, but now I do. Wow.
Okay,
Kirk Rain says probably needing to replace more cryo pumps. I mean, who knows? They've replaced so many. EJ, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's great. I'm just going with the flow, loosey goosey. Yeah, that was actually a good time to chime in. They're changing stuff with the pad, and sorry, and you might want to cover your ears for this part. I mean, the pads are the most complicated parts. You can have parts with them. You can have problems with umbilicals. You can have problems with pipes. You can have problems with pumps. Problems with subcoolers. In the case of Starship, like the pads are often as complicated as the vehicles that they launch. So changing the pad is critically changing something that is on the mission timeline. So that would require a lot of testing. So, I mean, once again, you know, I know there's going to be haters out there to be like, oh, Starship scrubbed twice. There's wet dress rehearsal. It's all part of SpaceX's iterative process. They change things quickly and they learn from those changes. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see another one of these, but yeah, I mean, it's not like IFT3 isn't going to go, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to happen. It's sooner rather than later.
Am I good now?
Yeah, no, you're good.
Okay, good. You know what's funny? In doing that, it actually made it louder because I'm wearing an earpiece, so it actually made it worse.
We did get a bunch. We got a bunch of good Starship questions. Right off the bat, we have one asking. We always get questions about the water and the ice on the ship and booster. Doug is asking, would they launch Starship in the rain, i.e., would cryo in the rain cause icing or frosting and therefore be heavier? I mean, it's rockets launch in the rain. It's fine, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, cast your mind back to DM2 in May of 2020. It rained on the rocket while Bob and Doug were in it, and then it cleared for a moment, and they launched it in that split second. Right? Well, that's not really. They didn't just like go, do it now. The launch window, the instantaneous window to the ISS just happened. The clouds happened to part, but I don't know if you guys remember, it monsooned on that thing right before they went. So, you know, in the question of Starship, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if SpaceX was designing this to be some kind of all-weather rocket. I mean, we've seen rockets from other countries, Soyuz, launch in blizzards, get hit by lightning, whatever, no big deal. I mean, so clearly you can engineer a vehicle to, I would say tank those things, but I'm not Sawyer. So you can clearly engineer. Sorry, dude, It's like a disease, man. I can't stop doing it.
It's spreading.
It's just in my head now. Oh, no, I wouldn't be surprised if they're designing it for all weather. I mean, Boca Chica isn't the, you could tell from these pictures that are on the screen right here. It's not the sunniest place, right? Like, you know, and ideally, like even these wet dress rehearsals, you can tell that the weather is kind of crummy and they're still going through these tests, right? If they're going through the motions with a wet dress rehearsal when it's, you know, cloudy and rainy out, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, eventually it'll get to the point where they'll be fine sending it in the rain. I mean, if Starship is truly going to do what SpaceX wants it to do, be like a 747 and can fly as often as a 747, well, 747 can take off in the rain.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Take off in the rain, land in the rain, like the equivalent of rocket instrument flying conditions.
Yep.
Go
ahead, Sawyer.
I guess that's what the R would stand for in IFR. Instead of flight rating, it would be flight rocket. But I think the bigger issue somewhere like, well, any of the launch sites actually, isn't so much the rain as it is the salt water from the nearby Gulf of Mexico there, as well as the Atlantic when it's out on the East Coast. If you're going to keep doing that. Eventually, you're going to have to bring them in and scrub them down the more you keep flying them to get rid of that salt. Because if you leave the salt on there long enough on metal, you get rust and it becomes all nasty. In fact, we've seen that on parts of the infrastructure that's out there at Starbase. If you compare it to even 2 years ago, there's a lot of stuff that looks worse for wear, and it's all to do with salt water.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, that's a problem at the Cape. I mean, Sawyer, isn't that the reason why, like, during Saturn, they painted the mobile launchers red? They painted the launch umbilical tower red because it's rust resistant, if I'm remembering correctly. And then the gray that came after. That's all to resist corrosion.
EJ, you're underwater again for some reason. It must be while we're talking about the rain there.
Oh my gosh. All right, but if you drown, I'm not resuscitating you. That was so mean. I would resuscitate you,
God.
EJ.
But how? I would just do the chest compressions, and that's all.
Anyways, we have a question from Noah asking, thoughts on the constant changes and development on Ship 26? EJ's gone,
God,
so...
Why mention that name? That
Ship
horrible,
26.
horrible name.
Go for it.
Oh, no. All I know is that something's going to change on the ticker somehow by our Kevin Michael Reed in the background for his love of Ship 26. Oh, there it is.
I love that
I knew
it's
he had
just
something up his
janky,
sleeve.
kind of yellowy text that just skates in willy-nilly from the side, like very low effort. I love it. I love it. It brings joy. I don't know, EJ, do you have any thoughts on Ship 26 so we can please Kevin?
Tubes.
Tube. It is a tube.
Tube.
Pointy tube.
Tube.
Yeah, I still don't think Ship
Not
26
doing
is
much
going to fly. I don't think it's going to fly. I don't think it's going to be used for any kind of crazy testing, maybe some structural testing, but to everybody that is in love with Ship 26, I'm happy you are finding joy in something. But yeah,
we should love all ships.
Oh, there he is.
The voice of God himself, Kevin Michael Reed.
Yeah, he's there. I can't.
All ships should have a chance to fly.
Yeah, okay, all right. I can't besmirch or go against you because you have mute powers, so it's honestly kind of terrifying to hear your voice on stream.
Terrifies me.
Am I still underwater?
I think you're good. Say something.
Yeah.
No, you're better now.
Something. I'm sorry. I just went for a swim. Like I got a pool here, Twitch stream. Anyway, I'm back. I have the combination.
Of course, your mic had to work again during Ship 26. That would have been the perfect time for it to cut out.
You know what? I'm not disagreeing.
Did you have some 26 thoughts, EJ? Now that you're fully back and no longer underwater.
I think my mic is cutting out again.
All right. Anyways, Parker is asking, why would they load ship first? Seems to make it top heavy without much advantage. That is kind of weird that they've switched the prop loading here from booster first to ship first. Thoughts?
Dude, I'm not 100% sure. I'm hoping the mic doesn't go underwater again. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I probably have to take some time and stare at the wall here for a second and try and figure that out. Because, yeah, you'd think, like, I was talking about before the mic cut out, I was talking about, like, transients, right? Like, if you load up the top first, you're gonna put load on super heavy if you're loading Starship first. And usually you would want to get your first stage loaded before second because you're going to, well, it's possible that a fully loaded Starship could crush super heavy underneath it. Or, I don't know what I'm talking about. It could be either one. Like, I know with other rockets, and now I know Starship isn't just another rocket. I think that's pretty clear. With other rockets, you wouldn't want to do something like that. You can, the the mass, just the full mass of a stage, with an unloaded first stage below it, is not structurally sound on. Well, I mean, I think I can say with confidence most launch vehicles. So it's very clear that they're trying something a little bit different. I'd have to kind of sit and stare at the wall and think about why you would want to do that first. There's some. I'm sure there's a good reason, right? They're not going to do it just because it's funny, right? There's probably a really good engine. I mean, they maybe I don't know. You never know with SpaceX.
The reason I go is because there was God, these are always so hard to get right. There was SN1, which I think failed a cryo proof and went kaplooey, but there was SN. I want to say SN3. They detanked it improperly, left a bunch of methane in the methane tank, and it crumpled the oxygen tank beneath it, and then it went kaplooey.
Exactly that. I'd be
like,
wondering
you don't want
why
to do
they
that.
would do that.
You don't want to do that with a full stack like that. That seems like. So I do sort of wonder, maybe they're like, it's not intentional that they were loading ship first and they got to a certain point and didn't have as much in the booster as they thought they would, and then they're like, all right, stop.
I mean,
unload
maybe.
everything. Yeah,
but we'd have
it
to.
It seemed pretty deliberate. That's the other thing, is it seemed pretty deliberate. So I'm super curious what's going on there.
Yeah, Alex says that on 3, it's not that they drained the tank depressurized and then it crushed itself under its own load. Whoops. I mean, that was a little bit of an oopsie.
It's an aerospace grade oopsie, yeah.
Whoops.
Also known as a whoopsie daisy.
What's it doing now? Now, we'd have to go back and look at Wet Dress Rehearsal 1 and Wet Dress Rehearsal 2 and see the timings and compare the timings. Alex, do you have a spreadsheet, my dude? Tell me you got a spreadsheet for this. I know you are the keeper. I know this, right?
He is the keeper.
He is the keeper of the times. If we can compare 1 to 2, we could see whether it was deliberate or not. I mean, 3 points of data is a correlation, right? So we need to see 1 more Wet Dress Rehearsal for it to be a pattern. Akin's laws of spacecraft design. No. So we'd have to see. He says I do. Right.
He says he does.
Yes.
So all we have to do now is waffle long enough for him to type the answer in.
Yep.
Waffle or bagel long enough?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Are we doing this? Are we really doing this?
Not like this.
Yes, like this.
Not like this.
You don't post it. Oh, okay. You know what? Let's do a little more Starship before we go completely off the rails with Bagel Chat. Can we try? I can't believe I'm the one keeping things on there. Talk, Sawyer, about anything but bagels.
That is not a bagel, sir.
That's a bagel. That is an everything jalapeno cheese bagel with lox cream cheese on it. I mentioned it on the stream earlier today. I posted it in food chat, innocently thinking my buddy Sawyer would be like, dang, Jack, that looks like a fire bagel. High five. And instead, you're trying to tell me that that's not a bagel.
That's a bagel I would throw into a fire, but...
So, we have had a lengthy discussion in the member Discord as to the bagelness of this bagel. I maintain that it is a delicious bagel. Maybe we need to have a poll in chat. But
it's
EJ,
like a loaf of bread. It's not like it's just toppings.
It's not a loaf of bread. How is that a loaf of bread? Bagels are bready. Okay, anyways. EJ, do you want to be the tiebreaker here? Is this a bagel? There's a cross-section shot. Would the cross-sectional shot help you determine bagelness?
Bagels have holes in the center, dude. That looks like a sandwich.
It's full of cheese.
Right.
Full of cheese and
it's
jalapenos.
Also cut
there
into
is
quarters,
a hole.
But that's another story.
Yeah, who cuts a bagel into quarters? What is this? Some West Coast thing?
Me, when I know that I'm going to be driving and stuffing a bagel into my face at the same time, because it's easier to stuff a single quarter of a bagel into your face than an entire half of a bagel into your face at once. Also, I don't have a giant.
You take bites.
I don't have a giant beard right now, but when I do have a giant beard, it can get really annoying to get the schmutz and the cream cheese and all that stuff out of there after you nom down on a delicious bagel.
What's
So,
happening?
so it's just a habit. It's a force of habit. Anyways, bagel or not?
All right.
Give us a verdict.
What's your vote?
You said no.
I'm gonna call it a breakfast sandwich. It's not a bagel, but it looks good. I'd probably eat it. Not gonna lie to you.
It is. It was
fair.
delicious,
I would agree.
I can confirm. All right, we have reached bagel consensus. Can we talk about numbers there for the flight comparison?
That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Alex's numbers. You guys are talking about bagels. I'm like, Starship, but food. Oh no.
It's hard to choose sometimes.
Also, totally wasn't trying to give you time or anything for Alex to post it and you to read it, but yeah.
No. You're the man, dude. All right. So from flight 2, yeah, okay. They start ship locks chill down, and then the ship tanks, ship header tank. Okay.
If ever there was a time for Alex to barge in on a stream, it would be now.
Yeah, but we're using a different way of connecting.
I know, but
yeah.
I can hear his voice in the back of my head, just yelling, whatever the correct answer is.
With
I
Alex's
can hear his emoji, his calculator one. I can hear it in my head somehow.
Yeah.
Available for members Discord.
Damn. So with Alex's, from flight 2, they tank booster first, and then from the notes today, let me see. So ship methane load starts, and then booster methane load starts 30 minutes later. Yeah, that's Alex, I don't have a reason why. I can't think of a logical reason off the top of my head. Like, I'm not gonna this. What I like to do is kind of do some logical kind of deduction here. Like, why would you want to do that? What's the benefit of doing that? What is the advantage? What are you trying to do? That's, I mean, really the question of any engineering, right? Someone says, "Can I do this?" I don't know. What are you trying to do, right? What do you guys think would be the benefits of that? Sawyer, you got anything? I'm kind of at a loss here with this one.
Only thing I could think of is, especially for testing like this, if you notice that something is going wrong, it's a lot faster to fill the ship than it is to fill the booster. So maybe it's a way to catch things earlier at that point and save some propellant. It's the only thing that I can think of right now.
So
Yeah,
Ryan
I
in our
cannot
back
think of
channel.
any reason for that as well.
My guy,
Alex. What? Wait.
Buenos dias, amigo.
I don't even
Hey.
know if this is properly set up because I literally barge in. Yeah.
Chat is
Dude,
freaking
sounds
out
good to me.
because you're here. So I think you are audible. Alex, talk smart words at us.
Yeah, no views of me because I'm not presentable right now. But yeah, I don't know if Kevin has the stuff that I put in the back channels there. But there was a lot of things to write down from flight 2, so the list is a little bit long. Let's be fair, but yeah, from today, we had again as EJ was mentioning that it was a bit different compared to how it was for flight 2, and frankly for flight 1 it was pretty much the same. The sequence was also booster first and then the ship. It was just like few timings were a little bit different, which is to be expected because they obviously learn a lot of things from flight 1 to flight 2, so that is to be expected. But yeah, today they began. Kevin, I'm letting you a little bit of time to actually. There we go. Now you show
There it is.
I'm trying to stall for him to be showing this on the screen. So yeah,
He's
it's a big long
waffling.
list. Oh dear Lord! But yeah,
Look, he made the list smaller. Now he moved it to the left.
because I think he's probably going to put here on the side the other one.
There
There we
go.
go. Woo boy, that's a lot bigger. There we go. He's adjusting it. You can do it, Kevin. Yeah.
Welcome to MS Paint Live.
There we go.
It's
Are
fine.
you just gonna leave it there? Okay, no, he's making it just right. I thought he was just gonna leave it like haphazardly on top. Okay, Alex, lay it on us.
Yeah, so you can see there's some of my notes from today. I was actually taking notes as we were live on the stream. And yeah, the ship methane load starts first, then the ship liquid oxygen load begins. When I say on the left hand side, when it says ship locks load chill down, that is basically the tower vent. It's sort of the techie name, I guess, of it, because they are chilling down the lines that go up to the ship. So and it is because they are venting something, you know that it has to do with the liquid oxygen, because you don't want to vent methane, and so that is why. And there you can see all of the timings. There's obviously a great deal of difference here between flight 2. Obviously for flight 2 we had a lot more data, to be fair, because it actually went through all of the things. But yeah, and meanwhile for today's test it was not the case, sadly, but hopefully we're gonna get some of that testing completed soon. And yeah, I'm gonna go off as a disembodied voice, I guess, because and let you guys continue. But yeah, that's some of the explanation.
I couldn't, dude. I can't figure. Like, I'd have to sit here and really kind of think about it, right? Because that doesn't make any sense. You don't want to crush super heavy, but then again, maybe super heavy is built enough to take a fully tanked starship on top of it. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not really figuring out the programmatic reason why you would do that. I mean, like I said, I'd probably got to stare at the wall for a little while.
Ryan in our back channel is suggesting that if they can load way faster on the booster now, then they're starting ship when they start it in order to have them both complete at the same time.
That makes
I don't know
sense.
if that's I mean that would make
Kind of like
sense.
they did with Falcon.
But
right.
I mean, Ryan, that's not bad, dude. That's not a bad theory. That's probably what's going on. But okay, so where my mind is going, and I'm not saying you're wrong, because I mean, no one's, like I said, I don't know the reason, but don't you think they would have that fast fill system eventually outfitted for Starship? Maybe it's iterative. Maybe they don't have that hooked up yet. So they're in this one scenario, they're going to tank the ship first, so that the booster and the ship get full at the same time. Like maybe there's just one time they don't have the.
Just like your mic is
tanking. You're a little underwater. You're a little
look, Alex joined us on screen.
Are you? No, that's not a live view. That's a me.
It's a live view of Alex doing the math right now.
That's always
a
live view of Alex.
Thank you, Alex, for being you, and we appreciate the dutiful note taking.
The fact that half the GIF is just covered.
I mean, it's perfect. It's still perfect. I mean, we could go down the Starship rabbit hole forever. I mean, Steve is asking, could they have had an issue with ice buildup due to the rain? Again, I really don't think so. Sawyer, do they get ice in their pitot tubes or something? Like, no, I don't think so.
No, I don't think the rain had anything to do with that. Again, we've seen plenty of vehicles fueled in the rain, so I don't think that would be a concern.
Do rockets have pitot tubes? I assume no, and thought I was making a silly joke, like, haha, only planes have those, but now I'm sorry, completely sidetracked.
I would assume it's mostly IMUs, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, where the rocket's going, there's no air.
But for the air portion of flight, just IMU based. Unless your shuttle.
The shuttle had pitot tubes. Yep, next to the front landing gear. They
shuttle had a deployed thing.
Yeah, they rotated out and deployed 2 pitos on the side for, airspeed while you were coming in for a landing. That's the only one I could think of.
That makes me wonder if the X-37B or if the Dream Chaser have pitot tubes. I bet they do.
Yeah, probably. Kind of need that. That's important for doing that hold. Yeah, we should ask Sierra Space. It's a good idea.
Sawyer with the big brain. Can we get a card that says "Big Brain Time with Sawyer"?
Oh God. No, here's how you get big brain time.
There you go. Nice. James Wilson's asking, will the new shopping center be far away enough that they won't need to evacuate? So SpaceX is building a new development called Rio West, I think is what it's called. It's supposed to be done by the end of the year. It's going to have a restaurant and a grocery store and some other stuff, probably retail space. I'm probably forgetting a thing or two, but yeah, that is going to be beyond the blast danger area for launch. just slightly. So would not have to evacuate based on how things have gone for the first 2 flights. You know, who knows if the BDA gets expanded for, you know, because they make a bigger ship or a taller booster or something, who knows. But for right now, that area is not subject to evacuation. Now it's beyond the road closure. So if you're not, you know, if you don't have any business being in that area as like a, you know, property holder or resident or a SpaceX employee or something, then good luck getting out there during a launch closure. But yeah, would not need to be evacuated. That's an interesting question. I'm curious how Rio West is going to shape up if it ends up even being called that, or if that's just like the planning project name or what. But it'll be interesting to see how, once again, the skyline changes, not in Cape this time, but Starbase, because it's changing.
But at least they're finally getting services to people closer to Starbase, because right now, a lot of the essentials that you would need out there, like in our How to View a Launch video out in Boca, a lot of it is, you're talking, what, 30, 40 minutes out from the actual Starbase itself, right, Jack?
Yep. Correct, and that's with no traffic through the checkpoint.
Right. It's quite a trek, so at least this point you'll finally be able to actually get groceries, get some food, and not have to go all the way out of town. But I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to keep up with these changes on This Week in Spaceflight, which you can catch every Friday, including the newest episode out now.
Indeed, that came out a little bit before we went live. Kevin left the Alex thing. Oh, that was amazing. But yeah, Twist is awesome. That's sort of why, or part of the reason and thinking behind why we went with the format change for NSF, right, is Twist is kind of like the hard news show where you get the events and no fluff, and this is kind of the insane, off the rails, but you still get to hear space nerds nerd about space sort of deal.
Nerding is good.
Nerding is
Friday
good.
night fun.
Hmm.
Mistake time with KMR. I love it. Tanner, we'll do a couple more questions here. Tanner is asking, when do you think the Star Factory will be operational, and what is going to happen in the taller section of the factory? That's for nose cone work, I assume. Payload is section and nose cone work, because that's the tall, pointy bits.
I agree, but I'm afraid to talk. I don't want to go swimming again.
So far, so good.
Yeah, don't be
go
afraid.
swimming.
Okay. If you go swimming, you have a visual aid in the form of me. I'll go like this.
Oh, okay.
Which, like you hold your nose when you go swimming. So you talk, and then if you're swimming, I'll do this, and you'll see that, and you'll know I'm swimming.
Okay. I think you're right. I think it's for the nose cones. It's clearly for a larger subassembly. So I'm trying to say this really quick. So the lower parts, these buildings are set up with like aisles almost, with a gantry crane that goes over them for moving the rings around. Moving the rings around and stacking the nose cone. The nose cone's the taller subassembly, so you need a taller building for it, right? And then those subcomponents will go out. They'll go into the high bays and get stacked in there in segments or something. I'm trying to say this quick so I don't drown.
You weren't actually drowning. I was just trying to mess with you. You did good.
There's a saying that's turn around, don't drown. So may I suggest turning around?
I mean, yeah. I'll look at this. This is sweet. I'm just going to sit here and watch this. This is great. You guys seeing this?
Speaking of Star Factory, yeah.
Yeah, no,
First
that's
off,
what I'm
you
talking about
teleported
right
very
there.
quickly.
Yeah.
The portion they're asking
This is
about
great.
is that leftmost part. Point to it, like weatherman.
Here, yeah, no, I can weatherman this. Hold on, I got room here. Hold on.
So here for this.
All right, so, oh God, now I'm on a crime scene show.
Just go. You look like you're from the X Files.
Hidden identity.
I was
Please continue.
Unwillingly on a NASA space flight stream.
It's Space Squatch.
All right, so let me just refocus here. Dang on. Nope. Of course it's going to stay like this. And Kevin's going to keep it on this frame, isn't he? Yeah, he is.
He is.
This is embarrassing.
He is. Much to my delight, he is.
Come on, camera. This is ridiculous. Damn autofocus! I have the autofocus on so it will do this so we can weatherman stuff, but no, it's not going to work right now. Of course, it's not going to work right now. I'm back. I have the combination.
Back, you're back, baby.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, all right, cool. This part over here. That's the tall part that we're talking about.
That's the part.
See that? This part right here. Not the
wait,
tall part.
Yeah.
Not here.
No.
Or here so much.
Right.
But right here.
Jesus, what happened to your face?
I don't know.
All that for 10 seconds of pointing.
Thank you.
Weatherman time with the EJ. Oh, man.
Good deal. James Meyercroft's asking if JPL has shown any interest.
You're crying.
All right. James is asking if JPL has shown any interest in Starship regarding deep space probes. I don't think I've heard anything about that. Have you guys?
No. I mean, the key here would be to have a kick stage, like what, perhaps Falcon 9 could have in the future.
Yeah, because you don't want to send the whole entire giant steel ship. You don't have to. Kick stage for the win.
Yep. I'm just not hoping here that Shuttle Centaur in some form will fly. It'll be Starship Centaur. But if you know about Shuttle Centaur, we can dream. We can dream.
Jeez, I can only imagine.
We can dream. I do hope. I do hope at some point, for some reason, some part of ULA, if they get bought or who knows, whatever happens in the future, I hope a Centaur ends up flying on Starship someday. How amazing!
Centaur 5 inside a Starship as a kick stage.
Right. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I don't want that. Right. It's like a match made in rocket heaven.
Yeah.
Oh God,
that's cool. We should do that.
Oh God, Das is typing in our back channel. Everybody hide.
Wasn't me.
We're in trouble. The boss is here.
He did it.
Anna, thank you for the support. Getting the stuff from the store. They say, what does Starship do when it's sad? Cryo.
Oh, I'm leaving. Jeez.
We lost EJ. Man down.
We lost him long ago. I'm amazed he's still been sitting there.
It's true. And Walter also thanks for grabbing something from the store. They say, keep up the interesting coverage. I like how they didn't say it was good. They just said it was interesting.
see, this is all working now. It's working just fine now.
Yeah, he's not going to go full screen on it. Why would he go full screen on it now? Oh, he did.
He waited until I sit down. Great. Good. I'm not doing it. It's going to blur out again. No, we're not doing that. No, I'm just going to sit here, Kevin. Well, we're having a staring contest.
This is what happens once you enter hour 2 of NSF Live.
It's true. Okay, one last question. Are you ready? Is your brain ready for this? I am Spaghetti is asking when do you think Falcon 9 will retire? Do you think it will break the Soyuz U record of 750 flights? Having hit 300 on Falcon 9, 750 feels very plausible for this vehicle to me. What do you think? We'll let you go first, EJ.
If you look at how Falcon 9 is ramping up, all right, if you look at 5 years back from now and then 5 years prior before that, the ramp up is crazy. We can only imagine that it's going to maintain this ramping rate because of the Starlink network. Starship will eventually be used to, rebuild Starlink with V2s, but right now Falcon is launching those V2 minis. And because Starlink satellites are in low Earth orbit that are decaying orbits by nature, around 450 kilometers, if I'm remembering right, or 270 to 300 miles. Yeah. They do decay by nature, so the life of the satellites is a lot shorter. So Starlink is going to require constant maintenance. So I don't really see any particular reason why we wouldn't get to that. 144 launches targeted for this year, and it's only going to get crazier from here. We know that from NSSL, the National Security Space Launch Contract, the Launch Services Procurement Contract, that Falcon is on the books until 2028. So, I mean, just do some quick math here. You know, we're getting about 150 launches a year. It's 144 this year. It was 96 prior, right? You get if you get even 100 launches a year, till 2028, that's 4 years away. That's over 400 launches. That gets you easily to a 700, and that's taking into account maybe 100 launches a year, which we know SpaceX is going to try and best. I would say that's easily possible. Yeah, for sure.
100% agree.
I didn't go underwater, did I?
No, you did great. I didn't do the sign, did I?
No, I don't think so.
I did not. Sawyer, any thoughts?
I mean, you said it pretty well. It's not the best comparison, but it's kind of like Atlas V right now. It's retired, but there's still flights on the books for a couple more years. I think that's going to end up being the same thing with Falcon 9 of, you know, they've already said they plan to retire it when Starship is up and going and have the single vehicle fleet. But, I mean, that's going to be a little bit still, I think. So I'm sure even when we get to 2028, there's still going to be companies that have contracts to launch with SpaceX on Falcon 9, and they'll finish flying those out. So I don't think we're going to see the end of Falcon 9 for probably at least another, if I had to guess, 10 years. And so at that rate, I mean, at that point, you're looking at 1,500 to 2,000 flights potentially, way beating Soyuz U.
It's a bright future.
That might just beat Soyuz in general, dude. Like all variants of Soyuz. That's a lot.
Wait, beat my what? Soyuz what?
Not hey, you're gonna go give me that back talk here. Go back to Jersey.
I always claim that rocket as mine because it's Soyuz rocket, but yeah.
I was just going to be quiet and let this continue because I like EJ's accents, but now I regret
I'll stop so he can continue the accents. I'll stop. Just for the accents.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this anymore.
Dance monkey.
Okay. About?
All right. Well, I think with that,
bring me a sandwich from the dumpster and leave the maggots on it. Is that what you wanted to hear?
It is. That you made me happier than you could ever know. That was amazing. I'll always have Zoidberg.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was a fantastic Zoidberg. Bravo. All right, well, at the point at which one of the NASA spaceflight hosts says, I don't want to do this anymore, I think is when we wrap the show. I know you were kidding. I'm just... What a segue. You just handed it to me on a silver platter. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We have we have Space Squatch on screen right there. I believe in Space Squatch.
Pokemon!
The truth is out there. What is going on right now? All right, the show's over. Thank you, EJ. Thank you, Sawyer. We have to end this before Kevin makes it even worse.
All the gifts.
Oh no.
What have we done?
Wow, this is a thing. This is a stream of all time.
What have we done?
How did you get all these so fast, Kevin?
It's something that rhymes with Schmember Schmishcord, I think. Thank you to our launch directors, and thank you to our flight engineers, and everyone that hangs out, whether it's in chat, whether it's in the comments, whether it's in the member Discord. But seriously, thank you so much to our launch directors and flight engineers for supporting us so thoroughly with their time, energy, and dollars. It's truly amazing. It's truly outstanding. Y'all are the best. Thank you. Well,
how come
I feel like
didn't get anything? They were all there. It is.
It's always me. Like, give me a break for one episode. Like, come on, it's always me.
We didn't mention the K word this whole episode, so.
I was gonna say we should.
No, we have to.
Dance, monkey, dance! Your turn.
This is what I've done. I deserve this. I deserve this. All right. Well. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll kill you later.
Thanks to Kevin, by the way.
He said the thing. Chatty did it.
He said the thing.
Are we doing name? We're doing name tags. Kevin Michael Reed operated the stream. EJ was on the stream. Sawyer's on the stream. Alex was on the stream. Hit the like button. Smash like and subscribe. All right. Thanks for watching NSF
Bell?
Live. We'll
Bell?
There
Bell.
it is!
Did that just for you, chat. Just for you. Okay?
There's the thing.
There's the thing. All right, we're leaving.
we'll see you next week.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
RS-68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, Atlantic.
Water towers, fly!
Tango down to nominal.
Flighting down to SC off. Bring in SC off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed. We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
All right. All right. I'm back. I'm back, dudes.